Hello again, friends. I'm Covenant Ironface, and my partner, Drekmo Caress. We represent TEAMNO. So, we promised we were going to go see Hateful Eight last week, if we could. Which we couldn't. It got pushed back to this week and came out Tuesday, and we didn't know about it. So, we tried last night, and the websites were all messed up, so we went there at the wrong time. Big mess. So instead, tonight we went and checked out the remake of Point Break. And we will get to Hateful Eight sometime later on in the week.
Hopefully
we promise.
Tomorrow. Hopefully tomorrow.
You want to just go ahead and hit it off with Point
Yeah,
Break?
let's go ahead and start off with Point Break and break them down as we normally look at. So, I did not watch the first one myself, but from what I understand, it has some similarities, and the idea is basically you've got a team of people doing ridiculous heists or whatever. But this version is focused on extreme sports heists. Now, you say that, and it feels like, I was expecting something like Fast and the Furious, kind of like, hey, something high-paced, upbeat, well, we're stealing shit and doing crime. It didn't quite give you that, and I am sad. But our main character is a undercover agent who goes in to get along with this group of high extreme sports, what do they call them, polyathletes, who are performing these heists. And kind of Robin Hood style in this case, they're stealing a lot of money and giving it back to poor people. And he goes to talk to them. The reason they're all polyathletes is it's centered more around not the heist, but what they're calling the
Ozaki 8.
The Ozaki 8, which is supposed to be these one with nature, super extreme sports things. But let's, jump on over and talk about our characters a little bit more.
The main character is a guy called Johnny Utah. And from the very outset of this movie, he starts off doing these stunts and end up getting somebody killed. So he really gets guilt-tripped throughout the entire movie for this. As they do these more extreme stunts and more people keep going on and doing these stuff and getting hurt, he feels really bad for it. And every stage of the movie, you can see his emotions throughout, and it is superbly done. I don't know the actor's name. I wish I did. He seems like a good guy, and I expect to see more from him. He looks like a good actor.
Well, a good athlete in this case.
Yeah, that too, but that's more editing than anything. Overall, him and the leader of the band of thief athletes are the main characters of this movie, and he's not really an evil, maniacal kind of thief. Like he said, it's more Robin Hood-y. It's all about the sports, and for that, they pull it off fairly well. Of our minor characters, there's not a lot to
There's
really
not
say.
a lot to say about the minor characters. We have the love interest, which is only there to drag the main character in.
And cause more problems.
And really, this is not a developed character, I'm sorry. It tries to throw development in. What was it? Exposition?
Yeah, pretty much.
Too much. Just hey, I'm related to this character in some way. I'm just going to explain it. And of course, obligatory sex scene. But that's it. That's all this character was there for. The other members of this group are there to make the main character feel bad when they die doing extreme sports. They don't have any solid background of their own other than, we're not sure if we like you. We changed our mind, we like you.
Yes.
Ugh, I am dead.
Yeah.
And the other sub-characters, FBI. His two handlers with the FBI are...
Suit 1 and Suit 2.
Suit 1 and Suit 2. They don't they don't bring any character to it either.
The overbearing boss and the fat ass that doesn't want to do anything.
Oh no, actually, he was working. He was explaining how the FBI actually works, but it didn't feel like anything other than, you know, I'm an archetype that you've seen 7 million times. So there's nothing here for the supporting cast, which really is a detriment to the movie. It needed so much more from these characters, and they just didn't give it. I don't think it's the actors' fault. And like you were saying about the actors, I don't know any of the actors in this remake. I can't remember the guy's name. The only guy I recognize is one of the FBI agents. And he wasn't even there important enough to do anything. Just, look at me, I'm here. I'm the boss. But then, with the extreme sports, at least we got some good scenes.
Yeah, there is a lot of very powerful imagery coming out of this. Jumping off, huge cliffs for the sake of doing it. And going down mountains, and then other... wow, that's a lot of saying what I'm doing. They
Words.
They hit some really large waves, and they do a lot of really crazy stunts off of buildings and stuff like that. And that's kind of where the vibe, it's like, oh, this should be kind of sort of like Fast and the Furious, but it wasn't. But at the same time, they're trying to portray the scenes as a character, if you can kind of understand what I'm trying to say. They spend almost as much time looking at the scenery as Lord of the Rings does. But in this way, it makes sense because they're literally trying to commune with nature by doing these extreme...
If Lord of the Rings scenery went by that fast, the movie would be over in an hour, not 9.
Thank God. Anyways, there's a lot of imagery and a lot of profound philosophy that goes into this movie. I don't think it will become quite the classic for action movies, the way the original Point Break did, but I think this movie can and should become a classic for a different reason. There are very few extreme sport movies where it doesn't have to do with, oh, we need sponsors, we need money, we need competition, oh, blah, 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 we're fighting over a girl. It's not about that, and this one was really subtle in the ways it was doing it. I really liked it the way it was. And yeah, there were a couple of problems, not enough development, blah, blah, blah. I think it was a good movie, though.
There is some downsides in these scenes, though. Like you said, a lot of them were really good, but I felt I felt like I missed out a lot. A lot of this extreme sport stuff had nothing to do with the crimes they were committing. They didn't... they didn't really do the crimes at the same time, except for a couple of times, but those weren't shown in detail. They were mostly just explained as happening near the start or before the start of the movie. And those are the scenes that I wanted to see. They would have done a lot better to show more of that than just the little bits of them that they showed. They did show some, but the setup leading to the heist and the escape, even if it was just a little bit more on each of those, would have been great. But it was more like covering it in the FBI file. And the only other thing I had to say on a minus here is the music. The music wasn't bad. It did feel energetic and upbeat, but it felt like it belonged with something like Fast and the Furious. I hate to jump back to that again. While they're doing these extreme sports, you hear this fast, upbeat music. It feels like a chase scene should be going on, but they're not really chasing anything. There's no, antagonist or target. It's just...
Not necessarily true. Again, this is a lot more about philosophy than it is about actually chasing each other. They were chasing something. They weren't chasing each other, though.
But you could have done with a different score of music. Like I said, I didn't say the music was bad. It felt out of place. But just rambling on that so much, because this movie was mostly about the scenery and the music and, how it all feels. Overall, it wasn't bad. I believe you enjoyed it more than I did.
I did. I would call it a good movie.
I would say it was okay. I wouldn't go and see this on my own, but, going to hang with friends and watch it wasn't bad. So, if you've got a group of friends, go check it out.
I definitely have to recommend it. I mean, it was a really good film. I wouldn't recommend it for everybody, especially if you think it's going to be an action film classic like the original. But if you go and take it as its own piece, I would really recommend it for that.
So,
so
sort of meh to up. Go ahead and check it out. But anyways, as we're saying before we started, Hateful Eight is supposed to be our next one that we try and see. The holidays have messed up our schedule. I'm sure that you guys can understand. We're wanting to check out Crouching Tiger.
Yeah, but there's no information on that being released in our local area, so we're kind of screwed on that one.
And we don't know where it's probably due to the holidays as well. We may have to take a little bit of time out. We probably should have during Christmas, kind of. Out for a week or whatever if we don't get stuff showing, but we'll, of course, we'll be back, and if you like what you see, go ahead and click like, and if you want to hear more of our ramblings and rantings, go ahead and subscribe.
All right. See you next time.